What does it mean to be happy enough to live? For most of human history, that was a subjective question, and for some, a rather superficial one. But you could answer it by faith, by family, by time, by the thousand small reasons that make ordinary life feel worth continuing. It wasn't meant to be a medical question. Medicine existed to keep the body alive. What you did with that life was your own affair. In April 2026, a clinic in Switzerland charged a physically healthy 50-year-old woman $13,500 and unalived her. Her body was fine, but her reason for wanting to die was that she wasn't happy, and the clinic called it medicine. Wendy Duffy was a former care worker for the West Midlands. 4 years before her death, her 23-year-old son Marcus had choked to death on a tomato that lodged in his windpipe. She had undergone years of therapy and had been taking antidepressants. 9 months after Marcus died, she had attempted to take her own life and failed. After that, she said she wanted to find a place that would do a neater job. She found it in a documentary. She learned that a clinic in Basel called Pegasus would end her life for approximately $13,000. So, she paid. She went to Pegasus. She wore her dead son's shirt. Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars's Die With a Smile played in the room as the medication entered her veins. Pegasus founder, Rudy Habiger, described her death as a case of sane suicide, a phrase the clinic uses to characterize decisions made with, in his words, intention, understanding, and independence. But see, Pegasus is not a fringe operation. Founded in 2019, it accepts adults over 18 years old who are deemed of sound mind and have paid the required fee. Unlike most assisted suicide organizations, it does not require patients to be terminally ill and only requires reports from medical experts in cases it classifies as medically complex. However, Wendy Duffy's case was not the clinic's first brush with controversy. In 2023, a 47-year-old British chemistry teacher named Alastair Hamilton traveled to Pegasus while his family believed he was on a weekend trip to Paris. Like Duffy, Hamilton had no terminal diagnosis. When he stopped answering his phone and failed to come home, his mother Judith reported him missing. Bank records eventually revealed where he had gone. He hugged me and said, "I love you, Mom," Judith Hamilton told reporters. I didn't know it was his goodbye. Her assessment of the clinic was precise. It's like a business. If you have enough money, they offer you a service. Find this story interesting? Then like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you know as soon as we drop a new video. The Wendy Duffy case is the product of a legal and cultural trajectory that has been building in Western Europe for more than 2 decades, and its direction has been consistent throughout. For instance, the Netherlands became the first country to legalize euthanasia in 2002. The eligibility framework at the time was described as strictly limited. Patients had to be experiencing unbearable suffering with no prospect of improvement, and 2 physicians had to independently confirm the request. What followed was a steady expansion of who qualified. Mental illness without any physical illness became eligible. Psychiatric patients began accessing euthanasia. The concept of tired of life, describing elderly Dutch patients with no specific medical condition who simply felt their life was complete, began appearing in policy discussions as a potential new eligibility category. Belgium, which legalized euthanasia alongside the Netherlands in 2002, extended eligibility to children with terminal illness in 2014 with no lower age limit. In 2015, a Belgian prisoner serving time for murder and rape was to be euthanized on grounds of psychological suffering, but medics quickly reversed the decision days before his death. Switzerland, though, operates under a different framework. Assisted suicide, rather than active euthanasia administered by a physician, is legal under Swiss law as long as the person assisting has no selfish motive. This legal environment is what allows clinics like Pegasus to operate, and to serve clients from countries like the United Kingdom, where assisted dying remains illegal. The cumulative effect of these expanding legal frameworks is the emergence of a 2-track system within Europe. Countries where the practice is tightly regulated or prohibited, and countries where determined individuals can access death by crossing a border and paying a fee. For those who argue that the expansion of assisted dying eligibility is a measured, safeguarded process responsive to genuine need, Canada offers the most complete dataset in the world for evaluating that claim. Canada legalized medical assistance in dying, MAiD, in 2016. In 2024, according to the latest official Health Canada report, 16,499 Canadians died by euthanasia. That figure has tripled in 5 years. It now represents 5% of all deaths in the country. The expansion of eligibility mirrors the European pattern. Since 2021, Canadian law has permitted MAiD for individuals whose natural death is not reasonably foreseeable, meaning they are not dying from their condition. In 2024, there were 729 such cases, and only 32.2% of those patients had access to palliative care. Among all MAiD recipients in 2024, almost half reported feeling like a burden on family, friends, and caregivers. More than 58% of Track 1 recipients and more than 63% of Track 2 recipients reported emotional distress, anxiety, fear, or existential suffering, a significant jump from approximately 39% and 35%, respectively, in 2023. The nature of the reasons they give, feeling like a burden, experiencing loneliness, suffering existentially, are experiences that, in most other contexts, would be treated as indications for improved psychiatric care, social support, and palliative resources. Among non-terminal MAiD patients, 44% cited isolation or loneliness as a reason for choosing death. Supporters of MAiD argue that these figures reflect the program serving exactly the people it was designed to serve, those whose suffering is genuine and whose request is voluntary. Critics argue that voluntary is a complicated word when the person making the request has told their doctor they feel like a burden, and that the absence of adequate palliative care suggests that some people are choosing death because the alternative support was not there. The week Wendy Duffy died in Basel, the United Kingdom's House of Lords was debating the Terminally Ill Adults Bill, a legislation that would, under strict conditions, permit assisted dying for British adults with a terminal prognosis of 6 months or less. And although the bill failed to pass, supporters vowed to push forward until euthanasia becomes legal in the UK. Wendy Duffy was not a statistic. She was a mother who lost her son in an accident and could not find a way back. Whatever one thinks of the system that ended her life, her grief was real, and the 4 years she spent inside it were evidently unbearable. The harder question, the one her case forces into the open, is why and how have we come to the point of feeling so unhappy people push governments to subsidize their own death? Canada's official government data shows that nearly half the people who access euthanasia in 2024 cited feeling like a burden as a primary reason. The systems designed to serve the terminally ill are increasingly being used by people whose primary suffering is loneliness, despair, and the sense that they have become too costly to those around them. We began this video with a question: what does it mean to be happy enough to live? The Pegasus Clinic has an answer, and many around the world seem to like it. It comes with a price tag and a psychiatric sign-off. Whether that is compassion or something else entirely is a question only you can answer. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell. And if you want to get early access to our releases, click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen right now. See you in our next 10-minute brief.